Senators across the aisle now calling for a congressional investigation into that Ohio train derailment resulting in a massive fire and a toxic chemical spill affecting residents and wildlife, while Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg has been largely silent on that topic. And this has been absolutely tragic for the people of East Palestine, Ohio. No one knows if the air is safe to breathe or if the water is safe to drink or bathe in. For more on all this, let's welcome back in commentary editor for the Washington Times, Newsmax contributor Kelly Sadler, and Project 21 National Advisory Board member and radio host Christopher Arps. Great to have you both back on. Kelly, we'll start with you. So residents are being told that the water is safe to drink, air is safe to breathe, but every official in that area testing the air and the soil and the water are all wearing hazmat suits, and they're being paid for by the Norfolk Southern Railroad Authority, the same train that derailed, which would be like having a bank robber investigate his own robbery. It makes absolutely no sense to me. Would you feel safe right now if you were a resident of East Palestine, Ohio?
Oh, absolutely not. And I feel for these residents. I mean, even Governor DeWine said, I'd drink bottled water if I were you. So no one really knows. And talking to experts, we did a column on this story this week. Experts say because of this controlled burning, more pollutants were put up into the air. So they don't even know what to test for, really, at this point. I think that the government needs to be honest. The railway needs to be honest with the residents and say, you know, we don't know what we don't know, but be safe. And if you can, evacuate this area. Don't bathe your children in this water. Don't drink this water. And if you have the ability, please leave the area until we know exactly what is going on.
Yeah, Chris, take a listen to what Ohio Governor Mike DeWine had to say.
Why not get the federal government more involved in what is a significant site?
No, that's not what I said. What I said yesterday is that I told the president that the federal government was involved. We had used the Defense Department to model. Our National Guard was working directly with the Defense Department to model when the controlled emission was going to take place, how far out that was going to do. What I said to the president is, if I need additional help, we'll tell you, but the people who have been in here from the federal government are doing a very good job.
All right, Chris, fish are found dead. Squirrels, foxes, wildlife within 10 miles of the derailment found dead. People say they have rashes on their face. They can't breathe. There was also a meeting last night. The transportation secretary did not attend. Can folks there trust the federal government?
No, they can't trust the federal government. Governor DeWine, to his credit, is showing real leadership here. He's addressing the people. He's letting them know what he knows. But Secretary Buttigieg and President Biden have been AWOL on this. You know, this is a good opportunity for both of them to be in that community, addressing the concerns of the people, be there handing out water to folks so that they know that the federal government cares and they're on top of this. You know, it took 10 days for the Secretary, Pete Buttigieg, to even address this. And President Biden, you know, his comments haven't had many comments as well.
You look at Alejandro Mayorkas and the situation at the southern border, Kelly, and you look at Pete Buttigieg and the fact that he went on paternity leave for, you know, whatever, 6 months, you know, when he and his husband had their first baby, and you look at the supply chain crisis and all those boats, you know, lined up out there in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of Los Angeles. You look at this train derailment. If Joe Biden is not going to get rid of Alejandro Mayorkas and Pete Buttigieg, he's never going to fire anybody. But seriously, Pete Buttigieg, why isn't he on the ground there? Yeah. We're talking about chemicals. Fine, vinyl, we've seen that before. That can be contained. Hydrogen chloride, that's when you see pictures of fish with 3 eyes, that's hydrogen chloride. Yeah. This is really, really dangerous stuff that could be leaching into the Ohio River. By the way, one of the biggest rivers in the country.
Yeah. No, I mean, and look, there was a railway strike last fall, right, where the railroad workers were protesting because they wanted, you know, increased safety standards. And it was their speculation it was the braking system in this train that was at fault. Pete Buttigieg, during the time of these contract negotiations, was on vacation with his husband in Portugal, right? And Joe Biden signed the agreement at the behest of Congress, but the railroad workers were not happy with it. So there's a lot to be unpacked here. And I do believe that congressional investigations are needed. But in terms of Pete Buttigieg, I mean, he couldn't repair potholes back in South Bend. He is just woefully not suited for this job. He got it because he's a gay, white man, and not because of any of his.
Oh, identity politics. A lot of that going around with the Biden administration. If you want to know what kind of person Pete Buttigieg is, I go back to that video from when Joe Biden was first elected, okay? He had a black SUV drop him off about a quarter mile away from the White House, take his bike off a bike rack, and then he biked to the White House to be like, hey, look it, I'm green. It was hysterical to see, but that's who Pete Buttigieg is. Okay, Joe Biden today is supposedly, he's got his physical exam today. Could take up to 3 hours, by the way, his routine physical at Walter Reed Medical Center. So we're keeping an eye on that. But he's also apparently going to address the nation, Chris, or address the media about balloon/object gate, 4 objects and 1 balloon shot down over an 8-day period over Canada and the United States. What are you expecting to hear from the president today?
Well, I hope the president will tell us why our government and our military knew that this spy balloon took off from a base in China. We watched it cross over the Pacific Ocean. We watched it cross over our country, and we never did anything about it. You know, the Washington Post and others are trying to give the president cover and say that maybe this was a mistake by the Chinese government, that this balloon floated up north towards our country. But I don't think it's a mistake when this balloon just so happens is going over sensitive military sites. It's hovering over these sites, and it just happened to go over these sites all across the country. I think the American people just aren't buying it.
Yeah, over those military bases. Then we have these other objects, which we don't know what they are. They're saying they're unidentified flying objects. Chris, you brought up in the earlier show, you're flying, and some of these objects were found at, what was it, 40,000 feet? Rob?
20, so 2 at 40 and 1 at 20.
Yeah, where planes are.
Commercial air travel.
Kelly, do you expect the president to address any of this? And is it too little too late? Because this has now been how many days since they shot them down, and plus the spy balloon?
Yeah, no, it's too little too late. But look at this administration and its track record. It only publicly discussed the Chinese spy balloon when the Billings Gazette took a picture of it from the sky. Right. It was trying not to disclose this at all. It only has addressed, Pete Buttigieg has only addressed the train derailment in Ohio after there was outrage on social media and pictures and from the residents 10 days after the crash happened. If you look at the southern border, everything was secure. Everything was fine until, Newsmax and Fox News started having reporters go down there and just taking pictures and reporting about how hundreds of thousands of people are crossing on a monthly basis. And so this administration doesn't want to confront anything. They don't want to tell us the truth on anything that they find uncomfortable to their narrative. Joe Biden goes out every day and tells us how great the economy is, when clearly the economy is not doing well. So what do I expect from Joe Biden today? Not much.
Yeah, so Kamala Harris was asked about the Chinese balloon episode. She told Politico that I don't think it impacts our relationship with China. Chris, less than 30 seconds. How does this not impact our relationship with China in at least some way, Kamala Harris?
I think it directs our relationship, definitely. You have a country that is sending not one, but probably 3 or 4 spy balloons into our country, and then they have the audacity to get belligerent about it when we shoot them down.
Right. Good points. Chris Arps, Kelly Sadler, thanks so much. Enjoyed it this morning. We'll pick this up again soon.